makers. I wanted to introduce to you a new series that I'm going to be starting for the next couple of weeks, and that is St. Patrick's Day cards. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is she doing St. Patrick's Day? Well, for this reason. I am admitting to you right now, I have not sent out Christmas cards in years and years. I just get overwhelmed in December and I don't get it done. And it's a complete stressor to me to send out Christmas cards. But I still wanted to send something to friends or family, you know, at some point throughout the year. And so this December, I kind of started thinking, well, when would be a good time for me to send something out instead of Christmas cards? And I decided on St. Patrick's Day for a couple of reasons. It's a good time. I'm not overwhelmed by anything that's taking up a lot of my time. And it happens to be one of my favorite holidays. So St. Patrick's Day can be, you know, a silly holiday for a lot of people, and the leprechauns and the rainbows and the gold and all that stuff. For me, I celebrate it as more of a religious holiday, and I focus on St. Patrick and, you know, his life. And so I think that for me, it's a good kind of precursor to the Easter Resurrection Sunday season that follows. So I was looking for some kind of more religious St. Patrick's Day type things. And, you know, there's not a lot on the market. A lot more of the leprechauns and all of that stuff. So what I settled on were some things that I thought I would be able to make some fun, silly St. Patrick's Day cards, and then some with a little bit more of a religious overtone. And then I have a mixture of cards that I will be able to send to friends or family in place of Christmas cards this year. So let's take a moment to talk about some of the things that I've gathered. This is kind of an intro at the beginning of this first card in the series, kind of like I did with Thanksgiving. So just a heads up that I'm going to be going through very quickly the products that I have gathered, and then I will make a card or a couple of cards, and then the next time I won't be going over all of this. So that's just a little heads up what to expect in today's tutorial video. So a couple of the things that I grabbed, and as you can see, thank you Whimsy Stamps for having so many products for St. Patrick's Day. How great is this, right? So one of the things that I grabbed, because these are fairly new to me, I haven't used these before, so this is going to be a new thing for me, are toner card fronts. And Whimsy Stamps is about making sure that you can make cards quickly and easily that are really cute, and you can get them in the mail to people. That's what I need. So these card fronts are going to be very helpful for that. They have two styles that I'm going to be using. One is the Happy St. Patrick's Day with the shamrocks, and then these shamrock papers. And then these two styles I'm saving for some Disney scrapbooking or Disney cards. Thought this would go great with Scrooge McDuck, and this would be great for Frontierland. So I'm going to be saving those for another completely different project. So toner card fronts, that's one style of card I will be making. Another one, I recently made the sympathy cards with the quick card fronts from Whimsy Stamps. So this is a product that they have for many holidays and just life situations. These are Gnome Wishes card fronts, and they are little gnomes that, you know, could, you know, kind of be leprechaun-y, I guess, but these gnomes, the card fronts have, sometimes they have a little something that could be construed as St. Patrick's Day, but a lot of times they could just be something that you would send to a friend. And so they're all different, and you get 8 separate cards for $5.99. And then with them, you get 2 sets of sentiment strips. How's it going, Nomi? Cutest Clover in the Patch, Shamrock Wishes, Happy Birthday, Nomi. Are gnomes and leprechauns related? Happy St. Patty's Day. To know me is to love you, and Nomi's name made me do it. Now, you can use the sentiment strips, or you could use a stamp set to stamp your own. with these. So I have some ideas and some things actually that I ordered to go with these. So some dies and things like that are on their way. So I won't be getting to these right away, but I will be getting to them. Now, Whimsy Stamps also has a whole set of slimline dies and things like that. So they have this wonderful Shamrock slimline die that cuts out not only the card front, but also all of these shamrocks that you could use on a different project. And even if you didn't want to use the whole card front, maybe you just wanted all of these shamrocks for a shaker card or for putting on, you know, different cards. You could do that as well. And then they have slimline papers. So this is their slimline paper pack, St. Patrick's Day, and lots of great papers in this. So as you can see, and you get 2 of each, the gold and this plaid back here. I love this black wood grain with the clovers and shamrocks. And then we have this one with some diagonals. And what I was thinking of, I love hats. I love the hats. It's so fun. So some more hats and gold shamrocks. Love these green patterns. And this one's great with the outline and the clovers. And then look at this one with the wood grain. And I have to say that I am going to be saving, I love this too with the blues on there. I'm going to be saving this with just the black because I think this will be perfect for Halloween cards later on in the year. So I'm going to be saving that paper. So as you can see, even when I was shopping for St. Patrick's Day things, I was thinking of other holidays as well. Now, I will pair this paper with a lot of these stamps that I grabbed. So I grabbed this one, has a lot of horseshoes on it, but what really stood out to me on this one was where it says, always be with you. And this says, may the luck of the Irish always be with you. But what I want to do for my more religious in nature cards is to cut around on the inside of that and just cut out the always be with you. And I'm going to add one of their Easter stamp sets. This is the Savior stamp set. And I'm going to grab the words that say the Lord. And then I will put that over always be with you. So that it kind of, the Lord always be with you kind of has a, it goes along with one of St. Patrick's prayers. And so I really like that. So I'll be using that. So that can go on any of these slimline card fronts. There is this set that's fairly new. You can stamp happy, and the St. Patrick's can go in the banner, and then day can go out here. So happy St. Patrick's Day. That could go on any of these kind of in a corner on them. Love all of the shamrocks. Then you've got this here. I love the shamrocks in here. Another little cute hat. So a lot of great images on that one. Love, love, love this hat. Wouldn't this be so fun to color? So I'm looking forward to using this. We've got some wishes on there. And then I love these. I think this will be really fun to kind of watercolor and stick on to a card. And look at this one. This is another fabulous shamrock. Really, really love this. We have some great sentiments on here. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And may love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. And this one, may good and faithful friends be yours wherever you roam. So I really love that too. So I will definitely use a couple of these sentiments and definitely the shamrocks that are on here. And last but not least, this is an oldie bitty goodie that I have had in my collection for quite some time. And this is the tartan plaid background that I can do in greens and yellows and things like that. So I will be using this. All right, now that was a fairly long intro, but I did want to just let you know about some of the products that I will be using over the next couple of weeks. If you're interested, they will be in the link to pretty much every video. I'm just going to use the same links that have all of the products, so that if at any point you are like, oh, you know, I remember that she pointed this or that out, great. And then for each of the videos I'm going to be doing, I will bring in other things that I'm using, you know, like the outline dies maybe, or something like that. If I'm adding something extra, I will let you know what that is with each particular tutorial video. All right. Now I haven't decided what card I'm going to make today. That was a long intro, but let's get started making, and I'll figure it out as I go. I have chosen the St. Patrick's Day Slimline paper pack to start off with, my first set of cards, and I am going to use up some stuff from my stash that I have had for 7 or 8 years now. So these are DIY Shop by American Crafts, and I bought them I think back in 2016 when my local scrapbook store closed, and they had a whole bunch of them. So nobody wanted the black ones, and I thought they were great, so I bought what was left. I have about 36 of these cards, I think, and they came with envelopes. They are a little bit different size than normal A2 cards. This is 5.5 by 4. So it's a little thinner than normally mine are 5.5 by 4.25. So that's totally fine because these papers are 8.5 by 3.5. And so if I cut that so that it fits, then I will have a small piece left over here, and I think that's going to be fine because I could fit that little small piece as a focal point on, say, something like this, one of the other pieces, and I think that'll be just fine to be able to do that, and then just stick my sentiment here, right? So that's my plan. I'm going to kind of start cutting some of these and see where that leads. All right, so if I'm looking at this card base and it's 5.5, and this piece is 3.5, and this is 4. So the reveal on this way is 1/2 inch. So it's 1/4 on each side. So to get it to look right on this one, I need to cut it at 5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and do that at 5 inches. And there we go. Right, so that's great. And then I have this square piece. Let's see what this looks like on here. So that looks fine on there. And then now that I have my card fronts cut, my mats cut, and I have all the card bases pulled, I'm ready to start on the focal points for each card. So I looked through my stamp sets, and I have chosen this stamp from the St. Patrick's Day Gold CWSD 361 clear stamp set. And I have pulled it already. It is on my stamp platform. Once I get these all stamped and they are dry, I'm going to color them with Distress watercolor pencils. And the colors I have chosen are Mowed Lawn and Shabby Shutters for the greens, Scattered Straw for the gold, and Evergreen Bough for the kind of bluish color that I'm going to be using. So I'm using these 4 colors. These are from the new release of the final colors of the Distress watercolor pencils, the last 36 colors. So, and then I went through and I die cut a bunch of 2.5 inch round circles to stamp on. Now, you can use, if you have punches, you can use the punch, you can use whatever. I'm going to go ahead and link to the Whimsy Stamps stitch circles dies below in the description if you don't have anything and you want something, so that will work. Now, once you have a bunch of the shapes cut, you want to stamp on them, and I want them all to be stamped the exact same way. So I learned this technique from my friend Joy a long time ago, and it works for me. So I'm very thankful to her. Thank you, Joy. So on my stamp platform, I have some Sizzix Sticky Grid, and it's like double-sided tape, kind of. I know that for other stamp platforms, there are other sticky substances or sticky things that you can use. Use what works for you. Use what you have on hand. This is what I have. This is what I use because it works for me. So Joy told me that when you are cutting out a bunch of the same shape and you want to use the same stamp on those shapes, super fast to do this. You take the outside part that is left over from your die cutting and you fit the pieces back in just like that. And I didn't get it quite in evenly. There we go. Just like that. And then if you have your stamp already centered and exactly where you want it within the shape, you are ready to stamp. So I'm stamping with Black Soot Archival ink. And I'm going to ink up my stamp. And the reason that I use a stamp platform is because I'm going to be stamping a bunch of them. I want them all in the same spot. And also, I am not the greatest at getting things to stamp right the first time. So you can see it's a little bit light down there. That's not the stamp's fault. That is user error on my part. And there we go. Okay. So then when you're ready, you take a poker tool. This is one from Trinity Stamps. It has the sticky on this end and then a little poker. And you want to go under and just lift that up and pull it off. And then take another one. Get it situated in there and keep going. For the ones that have the leftover kind of square piece, I'm going to be putting one of these on each of them. But down below where I have this extra piece, I wanted to put another sentiment just to kind of fill in that spot there. And I may do this on some of the others that are the full, you know, size. That's Leota. She thinks I should stop and just be petting her right now. Okay, so let me tell you what I'm doing on these as I'm stamping them. So I grabbed the sentiment and 3 clover stamps from, this one is Shamrock Swirl CWSD 257. And I positioned these so that it will fit exactly on all the little pieces that I cut to go on these particular cards. All right. And so I'll set it here like this. And then here's where I have to trust myself to get the stamping right. So I cut extras because, you know. So I positioned these, as you can see, so that they will be on the stamps or on the little sayings like this. And kind of going off the edge, and I grabbed the Mowed Lawn, since I'm coloring with Mowed Lawn Distress watercolor pencil. I grabbed the Distress Oxide because it is a little more opaque and a little lighter than if I used the Distress ink. That would be too dark, and it wouldn't really fit the color of the sentiment, or, you know, the focal point. So that's why I went with Distress Oxide for this. So I am inking up the stamp with the Mowed Lawn, and then I will position this and stamp. Okay, there we go. And then I have the sentiment that says, "May love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home." So I have that one here, and my Black Soot Distress ink. So I will ink that one up. And again, trusting myself. Leota, don't bump. She's not listening. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. You can read it. I'm pretty happy with that. So I have to do that several times for all of my partial card fronts. And then that will go like that. I think that's super cute. Now that all of my main images are stamped and I have colored them with the Distress watercolor pencils, I wanted to show you an additional step that I have added. And I used a product that you may or may not be familiar with, so I want to take just a minute to discuss it, and that is Distress Micro Glaze. So this is a really interesting product. It feels like Vaseline when you're putting it on, but it's actually not greasy at all. When you put it on, it's just the strangest product, and then it evaporates, but it leaves behind kind of a little film that causes the inks and the paper to be water resistant. Now, that is not waterproof, but water resistant in the sense that if I sprayed a little bit of water over this, it would bead up on top of it, because it's been sealed with the micro glaze, and it would also keep the Distress watercolor pencils or oxides or Distress inks from reacting to the water, which they are made to do. And so it does seal it enough to make it stable and, like I said, water resistant. So let me also show you the difference between the two. So much like Distress oxides, the watercolor pencils are an opaque pigment. And so when you are coloring over something that you have stamped, oftentimes they will leave either a color completely covering it or kind of a chalky finish to it. And so if you look at this and this one, you can see that there is a bit of a chalky finish over the black soot stamped area. Now, this is fine to me. I would just normally leave this because if I'm using my Distress pencils or my oxides, I expect that look, and I really am going for that look, that kind of opaque chalkiness. I really love it. However, the paper that I'm using is somewhat glossy, and also the card base is a deep black color. Therefore, I really want the stamping on here to stand out and to be black. And I can't, because it was just a circle, I can't get it back into my stamping platform to make sure that I can restamp over it. So that's one way that you could do this. If you wanted the black stamping to stand out again, you could put it back in and restamp over it. But again, like I said, I don't have any way to make sure that I got this in exactly right. And so I would probably end up ruining the stamping. So that's why I turned to the micro glaze. So the micro glaze, let's look at these two. This one I have micro glazed, and this is the one that is just colored with the pencils. And do you see how much more vibrant the black is on this one? And even the colors are a little more vibrant on the one with the micro glaze. And let me show you the other one. So this one is just colored with the Distress pencils, and this one has the micro glaze on it. So you can again see that it really brought that black stamping back to the forefront. So let me show you how to do that. You're going to take one that doesn't have the micro glaze on it. You're going to take a tiny bit on your finger, and it's just the tiniest bit. You don't have to, it's not thick at all. Close it, because like I said, it will evaporate. And I start in the center and then I go out, and I don't know if you could see it already changing right away, just starting out in the center there. But I usually go in some circles all the way around and work it in, and then I'll set it aside and let it kind of do the evaporation thing. And then I'll do it again. So let me see if I can zoom in so that you can really see the change that takes place. And again, just the tiniest amount on my finger. And watch this. Look at that. Okay, you can already see just with a little bit in the center, and then as I work my way out, how it just pulls that ink up to the surface and really makes it vibrant again. All right. And then I'll set that aside. Now, once they're completely dry, what I will usually do is I will take a clean Inky Binky or something like that, and I will buff the top quickly and get any excess off, and then you're done. You're good to go. I'm almost finished, but I needed to add one last little thing to the fronts. So I went through my pack of pattern papers and I chose a few that I thought would probably maybe be the best for the fronts of the cards. And I cut them into 1-inch strips all the way across so that I ended up with 8 1 by 3.5-inch pieces of paper. And I put them on each of the cards, the ones that I thought went best with the fronts. And then I'm going to cut them in half and just do a little pennant end or fishtail end, whatever you call it. And then I'll attach that under each of these circular focal points at the front sentiment, if I have one on the front. And then we'll be finished and ready to send these out. For one last little touch-up, I am adding some tarnished brass. It's a kind of a gold metallic paint, and I have watered it down over here. And so I'm just going to put some on a brush, and then I don't really want it on this part, so I've just kind of made one that I can kind of cover those with. And then I can lay this over here so it doesn't obscure the sentiment. And then I'll go ahead and just flick a little bit of gold here and there. And then I will dry it with my heat tool, and we'll call it good. It's the best I can do. So pull this off and pull this off. And there we go. A little bit of gold touch to it. So I'm going to do that to each of these, and then I'll show you the finished product. Here are half of the cards that I made from this one card making session. I am so excited that I have so many cards ready to go and send out for my St. Patrick's Day cards. So the other ones are here. These are the duplicates of the styles that are out here. And I am just happy with how these turned out, how quick they went together. And I did add one more thing from the last time that I checked in with the gold splatters, and that is that I drew around all of them except for the dark wood tones with a thin black permanent marker and my ruler, because, you know, I always love to sew on my cards, but I didn't want to take the time to do that this time. So I thought that the marker was a good compromise to keep these as fast as possible. Now, these did take me a couple of evenings. You know, I do this in my spare time. And so because I do these in my spare time, I just usually, you know, work on them a couple of hours every evening. And so it took time, you know, to do 17 of everything and get it all done quickly. But, you know, wow. I have 17 cards done, so I'm super happy about that. If you're a clean and simple card maker, you may not want to do some of the steps that I did. For example, all of the gold splatters, you may want to just leave it plain, or you may not even want to do the lining as well. And if you cut out both of those, they were just as pretty without all of that, I think. And so, you know, it's all in what you like and what you're comfortable with. And even, you know, let's face it, how much time we have, right? So I'm happy with this. Glad I have these 17 cards finished and looking forward to continuing in this series. So if you have any questions about these cards or anything that I said in the intro, go ahead and just comment on this video or on my blog at playswellwithpaper.blogspot.com. I'll be glad to do my best to answer your questions. And then if you want any of these products to make some of your own cards, they are all linked in the description for this video and also on my blog with my affiliate links. So I always appreciate those of you that use my affiliate links. It always helps. So again, thank you very much for sticking with me for this very long tutorial, and I want to wish you a very creative day.